The atmosphere around Celtic right now feels like one of those weeks in which every whisper, every rumour, and every tiny movement inside Lennoxtown seems to carry a bit more weight than usual. Celtic supporters all over the country are waking up every morning, checking their phones, refreshing pages, and trying to figure out when exactly the new era will officially begin. And honestly, you can feel that mix of excitement, nerves, and curiosity floating through every conversation. The anticipation has been building for days because it looks increasingly certain that Wilfried Nancy is on the verge of stepping into the role as Celtic's next manager, with all signs pointing to the beginning of December as the moment he takes charge. What's keeping everyone guessing right now is the final paperwork involving members of his backroom staff, who are reportedly getting themselves organized to arrive in Glasgow over the coming days. And once all of that is settled, the club can finally make things official. Until then, Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney continue holding the fort, guiding the team through what is shaping up to be an incredibly demanding week. The squad now prepares for a European night away to Feyenoord, a place that has never offered Celtic any favours, followed by that always tense trip to Easter Road to face Hibernian. It's a tough doubleheader for any manager, never mind a pair working interim roles with all the speculation swirling around them, but they're going to be the ones in the technical area for both fixtures. After that, we expect Nancy to step in and get himself straight to work, likely beginning with the home match against Dundee in early December. That would give him a full week with the squad before the massive clash with Hearts shortly after. And that's a huge moment considering what's happening in the league table right now. It's interesting because just a couple of weeks ago, there were already whispers floating around that the Dundee match could end up marking the beginning of Nancy's reign. Supporters were noticing patterns, connecting dots, and wondering if the club's previous statement about O'Neill and Maloney staying on for a bit longer implied more than just a single match. And when you look at the way the narrative has developed and how several reliable voices have hinted at the same direction, it really feels like the plan has been sitting there for a while, just waiting for the right moment. If all goes smoothly, Celtic could introduce their new manager this week while he quietly prepares behind the scenes, and then he steps out under the lights next midweek at Celtic Park with a full stadium ready to welcome him. For a new manager, you honestly couldn't ask for a better run of home fixtures to start with. 3 matches in a row at Celtic Park, including Dundee, Hearts, and then Roma in the Europa League. That's a massive introduction for anyone stepping into the job, especially someone expected to bring fresh ideas, renewed energy, and a spark that supporters have been crying out for. And within 2 short weeks, he'd already find himself in a cup final at Hampton with a chance, if everything falls into place, to pick up silverware faster than any new Celtic manager in recent memory. After that, there's the trip to Tannadice to play Dundee United and another home match with Aberdeen waiting. And not far beyond that sits the derby, looming like it always does, a match that defines months of work, regardless of the circumstances. Before reaching all of that, though, Celtic still have to get through this week, and it's shaping up to be one of the more unpredictable ones of the season. Feyenoord away is never straightforward, but it's a strange moment for them as well. They've been stumbling domestically, losing 4 of their last 5 matches and conceding heavily, including that 4-2 defeat at home to NEC. Even the Dutch media has been talking about internal frustrations with their manager, Robin van Persie, calling out players publicly for not tracking back. That sort of atmosphere hints at vulnerability and While Celtic's own form in Europe hasn't exactly inspired confidence, especially away from home, the situation creates at least a glimmer of hope. Feyenoord are not flying. They're not smashing teams. They're searching for answers just as much as Celtic are. Even then, anyone who follows Celtic knows exactly how these European nights can go. Injuries have piled up, especially in key areas, and performances away from home on the continent have been an issue for longer than any of us care to admit. Yet, with Feyenoord wobbling, it feels like one of those nights where maybe something unexpected could happen, even if it's just grinding out a draw. That alone would give the supporters something to cling to, a bit of belief heading into the league fixture at Easter Road, and that match against Hibs might be the biggest one of the entire week. Easter Road hasn't treated Celtic kindly recently, even in seasons when Celtic have been at their strongest. Hibs tend to make life uncomfortable with their energy, their aggression, and the way they whip their supporters into the match. And with David Gray now guiding them to a few solid results, it's shaping up to be a proper battle. Celtic's away form in the league hasn't been good, and last weekend's performance against St Mirren showed once again how fragile things can look when the team fails to click in midfield or out wide. But as inconsistent as this Celtic side has been, supporters are hoping for one more push under O'Neill before the new manager arrives. One final effort to set the stage for Nancy's arrival, with the momentum still intact. The league table adds even more weight to everything. Hearts slipped up against Aberdeen, losing 1-0 in rough conditions, and suddenly the gap shrank to 4 points, with Celtic holding a game in hand. When you look at Hearts' upcoming fixtures, you can see opportunities: trips to Motherwell and Falkirk, a match with Rangers, a derby against Hibs. There are difficult games piling up for them, and there's every chance they drop more points in the coming weeks. If Celtic can find a way to keep pushing even through the struggles, it's not unrealistic to think the club could be right back at the top of the league sooner than anyone imagined. Looking ahead, it's impossible not to talk about the midfield situation, which has been one of the more frustrating aspects of Celtic's season so far. Watching Hitati and Ingles together in central areas has left a lot of supporters scratching their heads. There's enough involvement from them to see touches, to watch them move the ball around, but not enough impact to really change games. Half an hour into matches sometimes leaves you wondering if either of them is even influencing the match in any meaningful way. Sideways passing backwards, a lack of bite in the tackles. It all adds up to a sense of stagnation that even the most patient supporters are beginning to feel. And then there's Paulo Bernardo, whose chances under O'Neill have been minimal, continuing a trend from Brendan Rodgers' time. 16 minutes across, 5 matches under O'Neill is hardly enough to get a rhythm, and it raises questions about what a fresh approach under Nancy could do for him. There's a sense that a new manager might finally give some of the squad a chance to flourish, to show what they can really do when given confidence and a clear role. The wings, too, have been a source of constant frustration. Inverted wingers, so often a tactical choice, haven't really paid off on tight Scottish pitches. Cutting inside into congested areas leaves them with few options, and the lack of a natural outlet on the right side has meant the attack can feel predictable at times. Dyson has performed better on the left, stretching defenses, finding pockets of space, and contributing goals and assists. But the right side continues to be a problem. And when you pair that with the doubling up that teams are now doing against key threats like Tenki, the attack can feel one-dimensional. Moments of individual brilliance, like Callum McGregor's efforts, have been needed to unlock games because the structure hasn't quite offered the freedom to consistently create clear-cut chances. There's a real yearning among supporters to see a shake-up here, a fresh plan that utilizes the squad in ways that actually exploit weaknesses in opponents rather than repeatedly running into them. Away from tactics, there's also the mental side of the game to consider. Coming off international breaks, Celtic have struggled to hit top gear immediately, and that was evident in recent matches against St. Mirren. Even a win, while positive, often felt like the bare minimum, a result without the fluency or dominance fans expect from this side. The psychology of change, of a manager on the horizon, adds another layer of complexity. Players have to keep focus, to give everything under O'Neill's final week, while also preparing mentally for the shift that Nancy will bring. It's a delicate balance, but one that could pay dividends if handled correctly. Keeping the squad motivated through that transition is as much a test of O'Neill's professionalism as it is a challenge for Nancy to step into a situation that isn't entirely calm. At the same time, Celtic supporters are already thinking about the potential that a new managerial philosophy could unlock. Nancy has a reputation for dynamic systems, for shaking up entrenched patterns and for getting players to buy into his style quickly. The hope is that he'll look at the midfield and wings with fresh eyes, perhaps adjusting roles, giving freedom to players who have felt stifled, and finding solutions to problems that have lingered too long. The January transfer window looms, and while it's still weeks away, there's a sense that early signs from Nancy's first matches could guide decisions on recruitment, tactical tweaks, and squad rotation. Even just seeing how the team responds to him in his opening fixtures could set the tone for the rest of the season, determining whether Celtic consolidate at the top or continue to chase the gap between themselves and Hearts, Rangers, and the rest of the challengers. Meanwhile, the European campaign is still very much alive, and it's a chance for Celtic to show resilience. A result in Rotterdam, even if it's not a victory, could offer momentum going into the domestic fixtures, giving confidence to a team that has occasionally looked flat in Europe. The Europa League has been a test of endurance for years, and while Celtic have struggled away from home, the current situation with Feyenoord offers a glimmer of opportunity if players can rise to the occasion, if the defense holds, and if the forwards manage to find space against a shaky backline. There's every chance for a result that could lift spirits and provide a platform for Nancy's arrival. And then there's Hibernian, a side that has made life difficult for Celtic in recent years, especially at Easter Road. Their recent form under David Gray shows a team organised and capable of winning crucial fixtures, which makes the trip even more daunting. Celtic's away record this season isn't inspiring, and supporters are fully aware that the margin for error is slim. But with one final push under O'Neill, there's hope that the team can extract maximum points and give themselves a boost heading into December. Every interception, every tackle, every pass will feel magnified as players know they are effectively auditioning for a new chapter, one that supporters hope will bring energy, results, and perhaps even silverware in the months ahead. As we look further ahead into the fixtures, it's clear that the next few weeks are pivotal. Hearts are dropping points in their games, Aberdeen have been competitive, and Rangers will always be a thorn in the side, making each match critical. Celtic must balance the need to get points on the board with the opportunity to prepare for a managerial change. The squad's depth, the injury list, and the question marks over key performers all play into a narrative that feels both tense and exciting. Every training session, every tactical briefing, and every warm-up now carries extra weight. The anticipation is palpable, Supporters are discussing formations, player combinations, and potential tweaks, debating whether Nancy will opt for a deeper midfield, wider wings, or a faster tempo in attack. The speculation itself adds a layer of intensity to each match, making victories sweeter and losses sharper. And in the midst of all of this, the supporters' voices remain central. Comments on performances, analysis of tactics, and opinions on what needs to change flood forums and social media daily. There's frustration, certainly, but also hope. Celtic fans are resilient, passionate, and demanding, always seeking progress, always looking for that spark that can transform a season, whether it's a last-minute goal, a tactical masterstroke, or a brilliant individual performance. Supporters are ready to latch onto positives, to celebrate achievements, and to provide encouragement in a week that feels bigger than any ordinary one. Every call, every reaction, every match conversation contributes to the story unfolding around Celtic. And with Nancy expected soon, the story is about to enter a new chapter, one full of possibilities, new tactics, and a chance to reset expectations, giving fans a reason to feel optimism again while holding their breath for the first whistle under a new regime. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Whispers are swirling ruined Parkhead this week, with words seeping through the Glasgow drizzle that Celtic have quietly tied up deals for Lawrence Shankland and Kamara. Nothing's been shouted from the rooftops yet, but the murmur running through supporters' groups, WhatsApp chats, and the back corners of pubs feels louder by the hour. Focus saying the Hoops might just be shaping the strongest side in the league by a fair stretch, and these two names are right at the heart of the chatter. Shankland, the prolific striker who's been rattling in goals with a kind of regular calmness, is being spoken about like the missing piece Celtic have been nudging after for a while. The rumour mill claims he's already had a peek around Lennoxtown, with someone insisting they saw a tall lad with that Shankland gait, stepping out a tinted motor. It might be nothing, it might be everything. But supporters can't help but imagine him in green and white, feeding off the service Celtic tend to conjure as naturally as breathing. Then there's Kamara, the midfield metronome, a player whose composure has turned many a tight match on its axis. The word drifting through is that Celtic see him as the anchor that could solidify the middle of the park for the long haul. Some say conversations have moved further than expected. Others swear a medical has already been penciled in somewhere discreet away from prying lenses. The club, of course, is keeping its lips sealed, which only makes the rumour feel that wee bit more convincing. Among the faithful, excitement is bubbling just below full boil. There's a sense that if both deals are truly as close as the whispers claim, Celtic might be gearing up not just to strengthen but to dominate. Nothing's confirmed, nobody's gone public, but the buzz rolling through Glasgow carries a certain weight. And usually when Parkhead hums like this, it's because something big is stirring. Hello fan, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.